The Awakening. Admiral Corvazerin stood motionless on the command deck of the Krillian flagship Eternal Dawn, her silver-scaled skin reflecting the harsh red emergency lights. The holographic display before her showed another Krillian colony world falling to the harvesters. With each passing moment, more blue indicators representing Allied ships winked out of existence. "Fifth Defense Fleet has been eliminated, Admiral," reported her tactical officer, Center. His voice was flat, deliberately devoid of the terror they all felt. "Planetary defense systems on Viridia Prime have failed. The harvesters have begun surface operations." Zarin's membranous ear frills flattened against her skull, the only outward sign of her distress. 27 worlds in 40 days. The mighty Krillian alliance, spanning 3 spiral arms and uniting 17 species, was falling faster than anyone had thought possible. "The harvesters are altering course, Admiral," Center announced, gesturing to the display. "Their third armada is heading toward the Forbidden Zone." Zarin narrowed her 4 eyes, focusing on the trajectory. The Forbidden Zone was exactly what its name suggested, a region of space declared off-limits by unanimous agreement of all spacefaring races. Strange spatial anomalies made navigation treacherous, and few ships that ventured there ever returned. Those that did reported only ruins, the scattered remnants of a species long extinct. "Science Officer Telix," Zarin called. "Report." The wiry Milosian scientist stepped forward, his 12 fingers dancing across his datapad. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures from within the Forbidden Zone, Admiral. Massive power sources activating across the region. The readings are unprecedented." "The harvesters?" Zarin asked. "No," Telix replied with certainty. "These signatures appeared before the harvesters altered course. It's almost as if," he hesitated, "as if what, Science Officer? As if something in there is waking up." Zarin studied the tactical display. The harvester ships, massive organic mechanical hybrids that consumed all matter they encountered, converting it into more of their kind, were heading directly toward these new energy sources. Perhaps they, too, sensed a threat or opportunity. "The old myths," whispered Commander Nerev, her second-in-command. "The Guardian Prophecy. When darkness consumes all light, the Ancient Ones will rise from their slumber." Zarin had no time for superstition. "Plot a course for the edge of the Forbidden Zone," she ordered. "Maximum speed." The bridge crew stared at her in shock. "Admiral," Nerev objected, "the zone is prohibited for—" "I know what it is, Commander," Zarin cut him off. "But if there's something in there that concerns the harvesters, it concerns us. We've lost nearly half the Alliance. We're out of options." 12 hours later, the Eternal Dawn hovered at the edge of the Forbidden Zone. Ahead lay a roiling maelstrom of spatial distortions visible even to the naked eye, ribbons of warped space-time that twisted and shifted unpredictably. "The Harvester Vanguard entered the zone 4 hours ago," Center reported. "No communication from them since." "Admiral," Telix interrupted, his voice quavering with excitement. "The energy readings are increasing exponentially. Something is happening in there." The main view screen flickered, showing a feed from their long-range scanners. In the heart of the Forbidden Zone, a massive structure was becoming visible. What had appeared to be a derelict space station was transforming, outer layers of debris and camouflage falling away to reveal pristine hull plating beneath. "It's not a ruin," Telix whispered. "It's been hiding." Before anyone could respond, a blinding flash of light erupted from the station. When the sensors readjusted, they showed 3 harvester ships drifting dead in space, their biomechanical hulls torn apart by some unseen force. "By the first stars," breathed Commander Nerev. The communications console suddenly activated on its own. Symbols flashed across the screen in a language no one recognized, before resolving into standard Krillian text. "Defiance pior to cols activated. Perimeter breach DTCCTE. Awakening sequence initiated." "Admiral," The communications officer called. "We're receiving a direct transmission from inside the Forbidden Zone." On screen, Zarin ordered. The display flickered, and a bipedal being appeared. It had pinkish tan skin, no scales or frills, and a crown of dark fur on its head. Despite its alien appearance, its eyes held an intelligence and determination that transcended species. "This is Commander Alexandra Chen of humanity's Sentinel Defense Station Epsilon 7. The being spoke in flawless Krillian. "I apologize for the abrupt awakening. Our automated systems detected a Class 1 extinction threat and initiated revival protocols. May I ask who I'm addressing?" Zarin straightened, instinctively adopting a formal posture. "I am Admiral Corva Zarin of the Krillian Alliance Defense Fleet." "You are human." Commander Chen's expression registered surprise. "You know of us." "Only from ancient records. Your species was believed extinct for over 3,000 years. Chen smiled grimly. "Not extinct, Admiral. Just sleeping." She paused. "These hostiles, we've designated them as harvesters based on their behavior patterns. They're consuming your worlds." 17 Alliance species face extinction, Zarin confirmed. "We've lost 27 colony worlds in 40 days. Nothing we possess can stop them." "We can," Chen stated simply. "Request permission to dispatch a representative to your vessel for coordination. The Forbidden Zone's defenses are fully operational, but we'll need to synchronize efforts if we're to protect worlds beyond our perimeter." 6 hours later, Zarin stood in the Eternal Dawn's conference room, facing the human in the flesh. Commander Chen was shorter than Zarin had expected, but carried herself with the confidence of a seasoned warrior. Lieutenant Ria Patel, Chen's tactical officer, accompanied her. "The Forbidden Zone is actually a vast defensive network," Chen explained, manipulating the holographic display to show hundreds of installations scattered throughout the region. "When humanity faced the Void Plague 5,000 years ago, we knew we needed a fallback position. 1/3 of our population volunteered to remain behind as guardians while the rest of our species departed for another galaxy." "You abandoned the galaxy?" Nerev asked. "We saved ourselves," Patel corrected. "But we didn't abandon our responsibility. We established automated defense systems and monitoring stations throughout known space. We placed ourselves in stasis, programmed to awaken if another extinction-level threat emerged. The harvesters triggered your systems," Zarin surmised. Chen nodded. "Our analysis indicates they operate as a hive consciousness, individual units controlled by a central intelligence. Their consumption pattern is unsustainable. They'll strip this galaxy bare within a decade." "We've determined that," Telix agreed. "What we haven't determined is how to stop them." Lieutenant Patel smiled. "That's where we come in. Our weapons systems were designed to counter threats even more advanced than these harvesters. The problem is coverage. Our installations are concentrated in what you call the Forbidden Zone. To protect the wider galaxy, we'll need to coordinate with your forces." "How?" Zarin asked. Chen touched her datapad, and a new schematic appeared above the table. "Resonance amplifiers. Your weapons are based on particle acceleration technology, correct? We can modify them to sync with our defense grid's targeting systems. It won't make your weapons as powerful as ours, but it will make them effective against harvester biomechanical shielding." Zarin studied the human carefully. "If your people have been hidden all this time, why reveal yourselves now? Why help us?" Chen's expression softened slightly. "That's what Guardians do, Admiral. We protect." She gestured to the stars visible through the viewport. "This galaxy was our home once. We may have left, but we never stopped caring for it." The bridge of the Eternal Dawn had transformed in the 20 hours since Chen's arrival. Human engineers had integrated their technology with Krillian systems, and Alliance personnel worked alongside newly awakened humans with a sense of renewed purpose. "Harvester fleet approaching Selenus system," Center reported. 5 minutes until they're in range of the modified defense platforms." Chen stood beside Zarin, watching the tactical display. "Defense network is synchronized and operational. Krillian weapons platforms are showing green across the board. This is our first real test, Zirin noted. Chen nodded. The first of many, Admiral. But we won't face them alone. As the harvester ships entered the Selenus system, they encountered something they had never experienced before: coordinated resistance. The modified Krillian defense platforms fired in synchronized patterns, their beams connecting with human weapon systems to create a devastating web of energy. The harvesters attempted to adapt, their ships morphing and restructuring in real time. But the human targeting systems anticipated each change, adjusting the resonance frequency of the defense grid faster than the harvesters could respond. One by one, the harvester ships began to die. The counterattack. 3 days after the successful defense of the Selenus system, representatives from the surviving Alliance worlds gathered aboard the massive human command station Epsilon Prime. Once disguised as a lifeless asteroid field, the station had now revealed its true nature, a technological marvel that dwarfed anything the Alliance had ever built. Admiral Zirin and Commander Chen stood together before the assembled leaders, outlining their joint strategy against the harvesters. The Selenus defense was only the beginning, Chen explained. What you're seeing now is the full activation of humanity's Guardian Protocol. The holographic display expanded to show the entire galaxy. Points of light began appearing, first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Each represented a human installation awakening from its long dormancy. We established these outposts before our departure, Chen continued. Each contains a small contingent of personnel in stasis and automated defense systems. All have now been activated. Councillor Vex of the Athorian Confederation leaned forward, his crystalline form refracting the light. If you possessed such power, why wait until now? The harvesters have already destroyed dozens of worlds. The Guardian Protocol requires confirmation of an extinction-level event, Lieutenant Puddle explained. Our systems were monitoring the situation, gathering data. When the harvesters began systematic consumption of inhabited worlds, the criteria were met. What matters now, Zirin interjected, is how we proceed. Commander Chen and I have developed a joint strategy to not merely defend against the harvesters, but to eliminate them entirely. The display shifted to show the movement patterns of the harvester armadas. Analysis revealed that all harvester fleets periodically return to a central coordination point, a massive structure the size of a small moon that drifted in the void between spiral arms. The harvester mother, Chen identified it. Based on our analysis, it serves as both the reproductive center and central intelligence for the entire harvester collective. Destroy it, and the individual units will become disorganized and vulnerable. With all due respect, said General Mox of the Turian Defense Force, we've lost entire battle groups attempting to approach that structure. Its defensive capabilities are beyond anything we've encountered, which is why we won't be approaching it conventionally, Zirin replied. Commander Chen has provided us with something that changes everything. Chen nodded to Patul, who activated a new schematic. This is Spearhead, a human vessel designed for a specific purpose. It utilizes a form of propulsion that can bypass the harvester defensive screen by momentarily shifting into an adjacent dimension. Phase shift technology, gasped Telix, the science officer. Theoretical, but never achieved. Theoretical to you, Patul corrected with a small smile. Standard for us. Spearhead can deliver a concentrated gravitational collapse device directly to the harvester mother's core. Once initiated, the collapse will create a localized singularity that will consume the entire structure. And the rest of the harvesters, asked Councillor Vex. Without their central intelligence, they'll lose coordination, Chen explained. Their adaptive capabilities will degrade, making them vulnerable to conventional weapons. That's when our combined fleets will strike. 2 days later, the operation began. The human vessel Spearhead, a sleek, dark ship that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, moved into position at the edge of the harvester mother's sensor range. Surrounding it in protective formation was the largest Alliance fleet ever assembled, reinforced by newly awakened human defense vessels. Admiral Zirin stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, now serving as the command center for the Alliance portion of the attack. Commander Chen had insisted on personally leading the Spearhead mission, despite Zaren's objections. "Spearhead in position," reported Lieutenant Commander Sora, Chen's second-in-command. "Phase generators at optimal capacity. Awaiting your command, Admiral." Zaren took a deep breath. "Commence Operation Daybreak." The Alliance fleet surged forward, drawing the attention of the Harvester Mother's defensive screen. Thousands of smaller Harvester vessels swarmed to meet them, but this time, the Alliance ships were ready. Their weapons, enhanced by human technology, cut through the Harvester formations with unprecedented effectiveness. Meanwhile, Spearhead slipped through the chaos, its phase shift generators creating a subtle distortion around the vessel. To Harvester sensors, it was merely background radiation, unworthy of notice until it was too late. "Spearhead has breached the outer defensive perimeter," Sora reported. "Phase shift holding steady, approaching deployment range." The tactical display showed Spearhead moving deeper into the Harvester Mother structure. Suddenly, warning indicators flashed across the console. "Spearhead has been detected. Harvester internal defenses activating." Zaren's ear frills flattened in alarm. "Order them to abort." "Negative," came Chen's voice over the comm. "We've come too far." Proceeding to deployment point. The display showed Spearhead taking heavy damage as it pushed forward, chunks of its hull being torn away by the Harvester's internal defense systems. "Commander Chen, your vessel won't survive," Zaren insisted. "It doesn't need to, Admiral. It just needs to reach the core." With a burst of speed, Spearhead plunged toward the center of the Harvester Mother. The tactical display showed it penetrating the final defensive layer before dissolving into static. For a moment, nothing happened. The battle continued to rage around them, Alliance ships fighting desperately against the Harvester swarm. Then, a pinpoint of absolute darkness appeared at the heart of the Harvester Mother. It expanded rapidly, consuming the massive structure from within. The Harvester vessels surrounding it suddenly froze, their coordinated movements dissolving into chaos. "The gravitational collapse has been initiated," Sora announced, her voice tight with emotion. "Spearhead's mission is complete." "Commander Chen?" Zaren asked quietly. Sora shook her head. "No survivors, Admiral." As the singularity consumed the last of the Harvester Mother, a shockwave of energy pulsed outward. When it reached the nearest Harvester vessels, they shuddered and went dark, drifting aimlessly in space. "All Harvester units are showing signs of mural degradation," Telix reported excitedly. "The hive mind has collapsed." "All Alliance vessels," Zaren commanded, her voice steady despite her grief. "Commence cleanup operations. Target any remaining active Harvester ships." In the days that followed, the combined human and Alliance forces systematically eliminated the remaining Harvester vessels. Without their central intelligence to guide them, they were unable to adapt or coordinate their defenses. 1 week after Operation Daybreak, Admiral Zaren stood in the observation dome of Epsilon Prime, looking out at the stars. Lieutenant Commander Sora joined her, carrying a small metallic object. "Commander Chen wanted you to have this," Sora said, offering the device to Zaren. She recorded it before the mission. Zaren accepted it with gentle fingers. When activated, a holographic image of Chen appeared. "Admiral Zaren," the recording began. "If you're watching this, then Operation Daybreak succeeded, though I didn't survive to see it. Don't mourn for me. This was always a possibility we prepared for." Chen's holographic form smiled. "Humanity left this galaxy millennia ago, but we never forgot our responsibility to it. The Guardians who remained behind did so willingly, knowing we might one day be called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice." Chen paused, her expression growing more serious. "The Guardian Protocol is now entering its final phase. Throughout the galaxy, human outposts are preparing to share our technology with the Alliance. We believe you're ready for it now, ready to become the next Guardians. Our time has passed, but yours is just beginning." The hologram flickered and faded, Zarin stood in silence, her 4 eyes fixed on the empty space where Chen's image had been. "What happens now?" she asked finally. Sora gestured to the stars beyond the viewport. "Now we rebuild. Together. Human and Alliance, united as guardians of the galaxy." She handed Zarin a data crystal. "These are the coordinates for Earth, humanity's homeworld. A delegation from our parent civilization is already en route. They're eager to meet the species their ancestors once protected." Zarin gazed out at the stars, feeling the weight of new responsibility settling on her shoulders. The galaxy had changed forever. The silent guardians had awakened, sacrificed, and passed their torch to new hands. And in the vast darkness of space, hope burned brighter than it had in 1,000 years.